Shalom Israel. Shalom classroom.
Shalom.
I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Mashiach Malak Yahushua. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty brothers out there in the nation that are laboring in the last days, man. Putting forth the effort to wake up the hopeful elect on fire, taking care of their families, taking care of all of their households, doing the work, standing 10 toes down in the name of the Lord. Another strong shalom to all of the brothers that are not out there as of yet, but they're building themselves up by reading, praying, fasting, and being diligent. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty Aqua that actually reverence their husbands, standing 10 toes down in the ministry, cooking, sewing, cleaning, doing all of the righteous acts for our foremothers. You understand? Another strong shalom to all of the women that are not married as of yet. They building themselves up, being shamefaced, studying to show themselves approved. And another strong shalom to all of the mighty children, abstaining from lust and concupiscence and peer pressure in this world, standing 10 toes down for the name of the Lord, man. It's going to be a lesson through the Spirit in Acts the 10th chapter, diving into the mysteries and the allegories of what some Christians have no understanding in, rightly dividing the word of truth. Right? We're going to get right into it. Right? This is one of the, let's go to 2 Corinthians first, chapter 10 and 3. Right? This is one of the most well-known strongholds in Christianity. Right? The concept of Cornelius, due to two major points, the Gentiles being saved, and the willingness and lust to eat unclean foods that you read about in this chapter. So we want to touch on 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 3, just to kick it off.
Go ahead.
Come.
2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations, and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of Yahweh.
Right, so it's our job to pull down strongholds. It's our job to go into these doctrines and break down what our people have built up in their mind. Right? These walls of Christianity and the walls of all nations being saved, the doctrines. We have to go break it down. You can't invade a city without putting the walls down, huh?
Sure.
Right? You can't expect somebody to receive the words of life if you don't break down what they're struggling with first, man. You can't build the city on the top of a wicked city, man. You destroy that city and then you plant your city with inside that city, man. So it's our job to pour down the strongholds, and that's where we have to go into these stumbling blocks. Galatians, I think Ryan did a whole breakdown on Galatians. That's the stronghold. It's like your stronghold of people. Acts 10 is a stronghold. We all hear John 3:16. Every brother should know how to break down John 3:16 with ease, man. These are strongholds. And a lot of brothers, you want your family to come into the truth. And these are the oppositions that they come with, man. They come with Acts 10. They come with John 3:16. They come with Galatians 3 and 28. They come with John 1 and 1. They come with these things, man. And you're sitting up there scratching your head trying to figure out how to win them into the truth. But you don't know how to go into these things, man. You can't really bring your family into this truth. Break it down, Revelation the 12th chapter. Revelation the 13th chapter. Right? It's our job, go to Proverbs 11:30, to win souls for the Most High. In order to win souls, you have to know how to dismantle doctrine and dismantle these strongholds, man. Right? Proverbs 11:30.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 30. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he that winneth souls is wise.
Right, he that winneth souls is wise. So it's our job to win souls. That's the whole point. While we go out on the highways and byways to win souls for who? For the Most High. For Yahushua. Right? It's your job to persuade men that this is the truth. You know it's the truth, but the opposition they come with, that's like being a salesman or a real estate agent or a real estate broker. They have to convince the people that this is the house of their dreams, man. It may not be, but they'll make you believe this is a house of your dreams, man. That you want to be there 20 years, right? That you can see your family being here. They'll show you the backyard and say, look, I can see your son being out here. And it's their job to persuade you that that's the house, man, for you. Or a car, right? You may not even like the car. You show up, you question it, but they can answer all your questions. They know the Carfax off the top of the head. They can sell you a damn 2000 damn Honda, man, for like $8,000, man. You leave the lot, damn, wow, I spent $8,000. The hell? And they got me, man. So it's their job. That's how they keep their profession, right? Commission. It's your job. Your spiritual commission is blessings, wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Every soul you win, you get spiritual commissions, man. So you have to know how to break these strongholds down in order to receive these rewards as from winning souls. Come? Yes, sir. No. All right, let's go to Acts chapter 10. Right? Acts chapter 10 is our job, so you brothers should know, and this is something we deal with a lot on the highways and byways.
Book of Acts, chapter 10, start at the beginning.
At what? Come.
Book of Acts, chapter 10 and verse 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band.
Of the band called the Italian band. Now that's the first verse that when you're dealing with Acts 10, they'll say that Cornelius is a so-called white man. Because they see the word Italian band. Now, any brother was in the military in here? You was in the military? No. What part, King?
Air Force.
Air Force, you was in the military? Just you, King? And the Air Force, did y'all have, I know Gabar was in the military, other brothers, they had different battalions, that's what I'm looking for. What's the name of some battalions in the military?
The only one I know came up is this battalion, the Army band, and a Navy and Air Force.
Okay, well they had different subgroups with patches and different, I can't think of the terminology. I'm not a military expert, but they had different, not necessarily ranks, but different organizations within that military group, or squadrons or something like that. They'll have a code name for their particular team name or something like that, right? So the Italian band is not necessarily a band full of all so-called white people, right? It's just where the soldiers came from Italy, and they were stationed in a city that Cornelius was in. Now you had soldiers within the Roman army, right? Go to Luke, the 3rd chapter. You had Israelite soldiers in the Roman army. If we said that American soldiers are outside, it wouldn't be a strange thing to see a so-called black man out there. I've seen Moabite soldiers. I've seen Ammonite soldiers. America has soldiers from every ethnic group, right? Now, yeah, bring that up. Luke 3 and 12.
Book of Luke, chapter 3, verse 12.
It's the one said battalions based on MOS, right? So the one knows about that. So bring that up.
Then came also publicans to be
regiments. That might be the word too. So they have different regiments within it, right? So bring that out, King.
Luke 3, verse 12. Then came also publicans to be baptized, and said unto him, Master, what shall we do? And he said unto them.
Right, a publican is what?
A person who collects taxes.
A person that collects taxes. Equivalent to your what? IRS today. Now, if the IRS gives you a phone call, do you always expect it to be a white man? No. It could be an old Eve, right? It could be an old Jake, right, with a sweater on, sitting behind the desk. It could be anybody, man. So occupations does not determine your nationality. You understand? You have generals, you have lieutenants, you have tax collectors. Any occupation in ancient Rome, even in modern day America, it can be any ethnic group. So people see the word Italian band and centurion and fail to realize that you had Israelite soldiers all throughout the Roman army, right? And high ranks. You had men by the name of Septimius Severus. I'm not sure if brothers heard of him. He was out there in Spain and during around 190, 193 AD. Huh? He was actually a Roman emperor of the Severan dynasty, Israelites. Claudius Albinus, Persinius Niger, these are all so-called black men that were actually within the Roman Empire and the Roman army in high rank. You know, the movie Gladiator, I don't know if brothers saw Gladiator, but Russell Crowe, he played Maximus. Maximus is based off of Septimius Severus. You understand? And other generals that lived during that time. Now, read on, King. Hey, Matthew was a publican. He's an Israelite, man. So read on.
Verse 13. And he said unto them, exact no more than that which is appointed you. And the soldiers likewise.
And the what?
And the soldiers likewise.
These are soldiers. Now, John the Baptist wasn't dealing with the Edomites, man. Right, hold that. We're going to go back to go to Acts 13 to show who John the Baptist was dealing with. Acts 13 and 23.
Book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 23. And it reads, of this man's seed hath Yahweh according to his promise raised unto Israel a Savior, Yahushua. When John had first preached before his coming the baptism of repentance to all the people of Israel.
To all the people of Israel. So the publicans that came up to him are Israelites, man. Why would the Edomites come up to John the Baptist? They don't have a desire to fear the Most High and how to be righteous. Why would they come in? Okay, what can I do to be saved? The Edomites aren't thinking like that, man. So the soldiers came to him, man. And the soldiers said, what? Read on, King, and Luke the 3rd chapter where you left off. What did these soldiers say? Because they were Israelites.
3 verse 13.
God.
And he said unto them, exact no more than that which is appointed you. And the soldiers likewise demanded of him, saying, and what shall we do? And he said unto them, do violence to no man, neither accuse any falsely. And he content
And be.
and be content with your wages.
Yeah, that sounds like something to tell Jake, man. Be content with your wages, man. You know, you down bad, you're in captivity, you gotta deal with it, man. Just praise the Most High. You know, so Israelites were soldiers within a Roman soldiers within the Roman army. Any brothers remember Daniel's occupation in Babylon?
He told dreams.
Yeah, his occupation though. He had a better title than that. It's the president. Third president. The president. Go to Daniel the 6th chapter. Right, just to show you that you had men in high positions with ranks that you think would be given to a heathen. Right? Daniel chapter 6 and verse, you said 2. Yeah, start at 2.
Okay.
You start at 1.
Book of Daniel chapter 6 and verse 1. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom, and over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first.
So Daniel's the first so-called black president. Go on.
That the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage.
Yeah, Daniel was over the king's sons. That's high rank right there. Because a prince is the son of a king, man. And princes have all the authority, but Daniel was over them. Daniel was he had the same rank that Joseph had in Egypt, and the same rank that Mordecai had in the Persian captivity. Literally, he was running Babylon. That's how high and wise and mighty Daniel was. Now, if I lived somewhere outside of Susa, or the palace, or Persepolis, or any Persian capital, and I heard that the Babylonian president was coming, I would expect it to be a Jew, an Israelite. So your occupation, again, does not determine your nationality. Just because you have men of high ranks doesn't mean that you are that nationality of that empire, if that makes sense. So you have centurions, but that doesn't mean that they're Edomites. You have presidents, that doesn't mean that they're Babylonians. Esther was the queen of Persia. She's an Israelite, huh? Who would have thought, okay, the queen of Persia, if you were traveling 2,500 years ago, you would expect to see a Persian woman, or an East Indian, huh? Or an Arab woman. But you would see a so-called black woman with an afro. Are you the queen of Persia? Yes, she's the queen of Persia. These high ranks are given to Israelites. Yes, sir. Come on. You can go to the book of Genesis, chapter 41, and verse number 33. Genesis, chapter 41, and verse number 33.
Genesis, chapter 41, verse 33. Now, therefore, let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt.
Right, so he was set over the whole land of Egypt, man. And that's mighty when you think about it. And he was an Israelite. He wasn't an Egyptian. So you have to understand that, like the brother's going into, you had Israelites over these empires, you know?
Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years.
Right, now jump to verse 40.
Come. Verse 40.
Start at 39.
Come. Verse 39. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as Yahweh has shewed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art.
So out of the whole land, there was nobody as discreet and wise as Joseph. Read.
Thou shalt be over my house.
Over all of Pharaoh's house.
And according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou.
And only in the throne is Pharaoh going to be greater than Joseph, man. That's mighty. So Joseph was telling the Egyptians what to do, man. Telling them when to sit, when to stand, where to go, what officers will want to do what. And that's a mighty office for an Israelite in captivity. Let's go to the book of Esther, right? Get another one on that. Let's go to Esther chapter 10 and verse, you can read too, in the Old Testament.
Book of Esther, chapter 10 and verse 2. And all the acts of his power and of his
acts of his niggerness.
And all the acts of his power and of his might, and the declaration of the greatness of Mordecai.
Of the greatness of Mordecai.
Whereunto the king advanced him.
The king advanced Mordecai. Read.
Are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Media and Persia?
Right.
For Mordecai the Jew was next unto the king
Ahasuerus, right?
And great among the Jews, and accepted of the multitude of his brethren, seeking the wealth of his people, and speaking peace to all his seed.
You can't get around that. Same thing. So Mordecai was next unto King Ahasuerus. Daniel was next unto the king of Babylon, Cyrus. Right? Joseph was next unto Pharaoh, man. So you're going to have our forefathers in different captivities have high rank and have high positions. Now, we don't have the Josephus. If a brother wants to pull it up, I had it, but since we're using other devices, when you read the Josephus, it tells you that you had over 30,000 men within a Roman army and different regiments and in different places that they were throughout the earth, man. Can you pull up the a Roman facile, Baba Kasha? If you type in a Roman facile, F-A-S-C-I. Right, we're not able to pull it up on the screen, but just to show you. So here's the Roman facile. This is one of the symbols of ancient Rome. If brothers want to, they can pull it up. It's a bundle of sticks connected with an axe. Right? So this is the same thing as America's motto, out of many one, right? And pluribus unum. So the bundle of sticks represent different provinces and ethnic groups that the Roman Empire conquered, which shows that out of the strength of us gathering together, we could take down anybody. That was Rome's motto. The same thing as America's motto. They gather all of the nations and they use it for their strength and for their advantage. So the Roman facile is a clear indicator to let you know that you had men from different nationalities, different parts of the empire, who actually helped Rome become great. Another man, let's go to Luke 19 and 41. We're just showing you these examples to lay the foundation as we go into Cornelius. Now the man that conquered Jerusalem in 70 AD was who? Titus. Titus. Right? Now Titus, when brothers go into the history, which we can't go into, he's not the one who came up with the military plan to conquer Jerusalem. He was just the one given the credit. The man that actually came up, you want me to research it? Pull up Tiberius Julius Alexander. You had a so-called black man by the name of Tiberius Julius Alexander who actually wrote out the blueprint of how to conquer Jerusalem. A coon. One of the top coons. Right? So check this out. This is in the Roman army. Tiberius Julius Alexander was an equestrian governor and general in the Roman Empire. Born into a wealthy Jewish, now we know Jewish, we know what that means. It means Israelite. Born into a wealthy Jewish family of Alexandria, but abandoning or neglecting the Jewish religion, he rose to become second procurator of Judea under Claudius. So he was the top man in the Roman army, a so-called black man, who actually said, yeah, let's take down Jerusalem. I know where they stay at. I know those strongholds. I know these niggas, man. I know what makes them weak. I know how to, you think he could take us down? You have to have an inside guy, man. So you always have these guys in positions of, now he's the worst coon. One of the worst coons. Destroyed Jerusalem. We talk about General Vespasian, General Titus. It's really a so-called black man, which is not hard to believe, man. Because you always have our people cooning with the so-called white man. This is COINTELPRO, right? This is J. Edgar Hoover's FBI informants. You're going to have these people that sell out to their people. Now, click his profile, King Baba Kasha. right? And go to Luke 19 and 41.
Book of Luke,
Yeah, that's cool.
19 and verse 41. And when he was come near,
Hold on, Salaki. Right, it says Tiberius Julius Alexander, born 10 AD, died 70 AD. See that?
right after,
Year of service, and the Most High killed him. He served from 46 AD to 70 AD. And when Jerusalem fell, the Lord killed him. His top battles and wars are the Roman-Parthian Wars, the Battle of Delta, and the Siege of Jerusalem. So on his deathbed, let me take out my people, let me kill them. Then he killed his own people on his deathbed, man. A wicked Israelite, right? It reads, he employed his legions against the Alexandrian Jews in a brutal response to ethnic violence and was instrumental in the Emperor Vespasian's rise to power. In 70 AD, he participated in the siege of Jerusalem as Titus' second in command. He became the most powerful Jew of his age and is ranked as one of the most prominent Jews in military history. He's one of the top generals on ever, right? Top men of all time, in any nationality, man. And he's the one that destroyed Jerusalem. So you had men like Cornelius, Tiberius Julius Alexander. You had men in positions of power. You had a precept?
Nah,
All right, so let's go back to
1941.
yeah, we don't have to get it. That's all right. But let's go to Acts 25. I believe that's what I want. 25 and 22. Right? Acts 25 and 22.
Book of Acts, chapter 25, verse 22. And it reads, Then Agrippa said unto Festus, I will also hear the man myself.
22 and 25, Salaki. 22 and
Acts
25.
22 and verse 25. And as they bound him with thongs, Paul said unto the centurion that stood by, Is it lawful for you to scourge a man that is a Roman?
That is a what?
That is a Roman.
We know Paul was an Israelite, but he's also what? A Roman. Right? So you had men that had dual citizenship. They were born into wealthy families like Tiberius, Julius Alexander, like the Apostle Paul. These men had money and they were able to obtain citizenship within Rome. And Paul was from Tarsus. He wasn't from Jerusalem. He wasn't from where the apostles was from the hood. Right? They was from Galilee, man. They was from damn uptown, man. Essentially. You know, and they told him, look, hey, you're ignorant and unlearned men in Acts 4 and 13. Paul wasn't from uptown, huh? Paul was like from down Towson. Owens Mills, man. Reisterstown Road. Right? You gotta be from Baltimore to know, man. He's from Reisterstown Road, deep in Owens Mills, man. And the apostles was from Penn and North. Right? They was from Penn and North, Greenmount, 33rd. And the Apostle Paul lived good, man. The Apostle Paul didn't even live in Baltimore. He was like in the suburbs. He was in D.C. somewhere, man. You know, living good.
Question.
Hold on,
When Gamaliel he raised them.
Yeah, he had to come to school. He came to school in Jerusalem to be taught under Gamaliel, because that's where the top schools of the law were at. Outside, you had to come to Jerusalem to learn the law, right? Now, read that one more time. Or read on, King. 27. Acts 22 and 27.
Then the chief captain came and said unto him, Tell me, art thou a Roman?
Are you a Roman?
He said, Yea.
Right?
And the chief captain answered with a great sum obtained I this freedom. And Paul said, But I was freeborn.
Meaning what? Paul didn't have to buy his freedom. The centurion had to buy his freedom. Certain men, you could get your freedom and be a Roman citizen if you were a gladiator and you went undefeated. They'll give you the sword called a gladius. It's a wooden sword that's symbolic for your freedom. That's where the word gladiator comes from, the sword that they would fight with. You can obtain your freedom that way, fight in the Colosseum. You can buy your freedom through hardcore labor, or you can be a freeborn citizen. Like, we're freeborn Americans, right? But you have brothers from the Northern Kingdom and coming from the west coast of Africa, other parts of the earth, they don't have that. They have to buy their freedom. They got green cards. You got to go get a visa. You got to check in, and they have to go and do that, right? Right? But Paul wasn't like that. He was a free-born Roman. Cornelius, he's a Roman. Same thing, right? The Italian band. Go to Acts chapter. I just had him 18:1. Salaki. What? I believe Silas was a Roman too. I have to find that precept. But Paul and Silas were Romans. Yeah, Salaki. Acts 16, and let's get this first. Acts 16 and 37. Then we're going to get that.
Book of Acts, chapter 16, verse 37. But Paul said unto them, they have beaten us openly, uncondemned, being Romans.
Yeah, that's Paul and Silas. 2 men. So Silas had the same thing. So you could use men like that for your advantage. They wasn't regulated by certain restrictions, man. They could just go out freely. So it was wise to send Silas out there with Paul. Go on.
And have cast us into prison, and now do they thrust us out privily. Nay, verily, but let them come themselves and fetch us out.
Yeah, Paul, talking that talk, man. Right, go on.
God. Verse 38, and the sergeants told these words unto the magistrates, and they feared when they heard that they were Romans.
Because the Romans were treated in high regard, man. You couldn't just do anything to the Romans, right? Just like you can't do anything to, you can to a Jake in America, but legally, you have rights, right?
So they say.
So they say you have rights, man. And they just can't do what they want to do to you. You see these Jakes on YouTube, Instagram, as soon as they get pulled over, they take their camera out, they put it right there, they take their flag, their nasty flag out, they hang it out the window, the more independent flag, and they start talking that talk, man. Now, some of these lower level police officers, they be like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. You have rights, you're a freeborn citizen, and they'll let them go, man. But let you be from the Northern Kingdom who came up here illegally, man. And you just come ducking out. You got 15 people in the van. You can't get that talk. You can't take your camera out, right? And say whatever you want to say, man.
At all.
Right? You got to deal with it. And you're going to get worse treatment than a so-called American citizen, man. Even soldiers of the so-called white man's military, they have military discounts. You have military benefits. You get special deals. So Cornelius, he was on that level. You're trying to show brothers the level that Cornelius was on. Right? Now, I got to point out. You got it. Come, I'm going to bring up this quick precept in Acts chapter 23 and verse 16.
Book of Acts chapter 23 and verse 16. And when Paul's sister's son heard of their lying in wait, he went and
Acts chapter 25 and 16.
Oh, 25. Acts chapter 25, verse 16. To whom I answered, it is not the manner of the Romans to deliver any man to die.
Right, so it's not the manner of the Romans to deliver anybody to die. So if you were a Roman citizen, then you would have laws so-called in society that they would obtain to. Read on.
Before that, he which is accused have the accusers face to face, and have license to answer for himself.
And that's so-called having rights as a Roman. So if you didn't have the rights of a Roman or wasn't a Roman citizen, then they wouldn't follow these laws in their society, man. Right. Meaning anything can happen to you. Right, read on.
Concerning the crime laid against him.
And that's what they do in so-called America today. They'll bring you before trial. You have an accuser face-to-face. They will hold the trial. But if you're not an American citizen, they could just lock you up somewhere or send you right across that border. And it's a woman called Brittany. Right. It's a 7-time woman NBA All-Star and a 2-time. Well, we don't give a damn about all that. Right. It says has pled guilty to drug charges in Russia. She has been in Russian custody since being detained in February. Right? Hey, and she's all the way across seas, man. Yeah. And she's not getting out no time soon, man. I think she had a vape pen with THC, some weed in it. And LeBron James said, well, if I was her, well, nobody gives a damn, man. They don't care that you're a 2-time All-Star in Russia. They're fighting bears, getting ready for war, man.
That was a name that she's a she's also homosexual.
Yeah, she's homosexual. No Russians. Them Russians ain't playing around with that.
I was gonna say 90%, 98% of those people come over there to have those substances.
Yeah.
They get 10 years.
10 years.
Looking at 10 years.
She's looking at 10 years over something. What's that charge in America? Right? You can get away with that. America's legal. Legal. Yeah, you can smoke it, man. They got commercials on it.
Yeah. Russia said they're trying to trade her for somebody else.
You see that? You see that?
Livestock, like livestock.
And she's wondering why I can't get out. I'm in America. They don't give a damn about you being an American out there, man. Go and freak off in these other countries if you want to. They'll lock you up in a damn dungeon somewhere, man. And torture you. You said what? Yeah, chop your damn feet off, man. So I'm an American. I know my rights. Yeah, nah, here, you don't have no right to, huh? Right? Now, go to Acts 18:1. Chop your feet off. Acts 18:1.
Book of Acts, chapter 18, verse 1. After these things.
That's why it's good to go into the history. Christianity doesn't give you any scholarship. They just give you plantation pacification. That's all they give you. No history, no seeing who the centurions are, why that city was founded, why Cornelius is who he is, and what's the background of the Gentiles. Or Italian band, white man. That makes no sense. Even in the Italian their damn soccer teams, they have other nationalities. Right? When you see the Olympics and stuff, okay, here's Italy against Spain. And you're looking at the Italian team, and they got damn Jamal James and damn some Italian guy. They might have a Hamite in there, but they represent Italy.
Ben Simmons and Kyrie, they can play for Australia.
Yeah, they can play for Australia. It's another guy, Rudy Gobert, can play for France. Giannis, Antetokounmpo. Yeah, he can play for Greece, man. He's the true definition of a Greek. So you have these guys that have citizenship in these other nations, man. So let's read that, Acts 18:1.
Book of Acts 18, verse 1. And Salakia, after these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth, and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy.
Bro, all the Jews, all the people are always from Jerusalem.
Lately come from Italy,
right?
With his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them.
See that? So Claudius kicked out all the Jews out of Rome, man. They was born in Pontus, right, which is in Turkey, modern day Turkey, but they had moved to Italy, and the Jews was causing so much hell in Italy with the word, they expelled all of the Jews out of Italy, right? And Cornelius, he was sent essentially to a military base, for lack of better terms, and Caesarea Philippi, right? So now let's go back to Acts 10. You have modern day Colin Powell was a top general in the American army. He's a so-called black man. You can look up a list of retired so-called black generals. Can you pull that up, King? Just to show you that it's the same thing. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
See that?
Black.
Condoleezza Rice, she was in the high position. I think she was like a secretary or something like that. Con. Right? You see that? These are Michael Garrett. He's a commanding general. This is your modern day Cornelius. Right? He probably didn't have a beard on his face. Right? He probably had his military outfit on. These are all so-called Israelite generals. Right? Within the so-called white man's army. You know? So you can't have a coon mindset and think that every man that has a position of power is a white man. Right? You have Frederick Ellis. Right? Look at this guy, his damn badges and what are these things called? Your your medals and stuff, man. Your ribbons. Right? Your ribbons you get from the so-called white man. You know? Look at this guy right here, man. That guy look like he don't play no games. He look like James Evans. Right? From Good Times. Right? John Amos, that's his name. Right? You got this brother. You had Denzel Washington from Antoine Fisher. Right? You have these brothers in the army, man. Lieutenant General Larry Jordan. And these guys are over Edomites. They tell the Edomites what to do in the army. You know? They report directly to the president. So let's read Acts 10 and 1. Go on.
Book of Acts, chapter 10 and verse 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band.
Right, now, we're not going to go deep into that city, Caesarea, but just going into it, it was named in honor of Augustus. But the previous name, it was really associated with a city that was built for the Jews. So it was a hot spot for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Don't think that Caesarea was just inhabited by Europeans, right? Because Cornelius is there. Right now, I'm looking in the commentary. It says located 30 miles north of Joppa and named in honor of Augustus Caesar. It was the headquarters for the Roman forces of occupation. So it's like a military base. What's a military city in the United States?
Maryland.
Well, a military city. Is Fort Knox a city? Where's the Navy at? Bethesda, Maryland.
San Diego is
San Diego, that's the home of the Navy. Annapolis. Those are military cities. You understand? So he was from one of those top military cities. They live on base. They can kind of leave base for a minute. They got to report back. That's where Cornelius was from. He wasn't just sitting in the mansion eating biscuits, man, and unleavened bread. He's at work, right? So let's read on. Now, hold on. Let me read on in the commentary or the notes. The name Cornelius is further proof to let you know he's an Israelite. A Latin name made popular when Cornelius Sulla liberated some 10,000 slaves over 100 years earlier, huh? So he's named after, it's like you naming your son Nat Turner, right? Or Tucson. No white man's gonna name his son Nat Turner. I'm gonna call you Nat Turner, right? We're gonna call you Tucson. We're gonna call you Malcolm X, right? So he's named after a famous Israelite who liberated 10,000 slaves. So that name Cornelius was it's like Tyrone, Jamal, you know, it's another Negro name, Anthony, right? Tony, right? My bad, King. I keep using that, you know, right? Rel. Cornelius is like modern day Rel. You know, Stefan, T. Right? So when you see Cornelius, stop reading the Bible like a white man. Cornelius. Right? Oh, man, that's a J, man. Right? That's a J. All right, let's read on.
God. Verse 2.
Hold on, Slaki King. Let me read on. So Cornelius' name, Slaki, a Latin name made popular when Cornelius Sulla liberated some 10,000 slaves over 100 years earlier. These had all taken his family name. Cornelius, right, a centurion, commanded a military unit that normally numbered at least 100 men. The Roman legion had 6,000 men, was divided into 10 regiments, each of which had a designation. This was the Italian band. You also had the imperial band. Go to Acts 27 and 1. And you have something called the Augustus band. So you have these different bands in the Roman army, right? Acts 27 and 1.
Acts 27 and verse 1. And when it was determined that we should sail into Italy, they delivered Paul and certain other prisoners unto one named Julius, a centurion of Augustus' band.
Of the Augustus band, right? So they belong to the Roman Empire. That's one of the top ones, right? So that's plain. Now when you read this, read that chapter, I believe he tried to kill himself, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Or he tried the prisoners left, and then the Apostle Paul, he dealt well with the Apostle Paul. When you read this account in Acts 27:43 on down, right? He dealt well with the Apostle Paul. You had another centurion that was saved in Acts 16, one of the top guards of the prison. He said, what can I do to be saved? Get that real quick in Acts 16. Right? Let's go to Acts 16. So you got to go through these precepts. Acts 16 and verse 27.
Book of Acts 16 and verse 27. And the keeper of the prison awakened out of his sleep, and seeing the prison doors open, he drew out his sword and would have killed himself, supposing that the prisoners had been fled.
Yeah, right. The Roman law says if you lose one prisoner, your life go for his life. It wasn't a great chase, America's Most Wanted, hunt him down, manhunt. No, if you lost a prisoner, you got killed. You said, I'm going to just get rid of myself, man. I already know I'm the dead, man. So he's going to kill himself. Read on.
But Paul cried with a loud voice, saying, do thyself no harm, for we are all here. Then he called for a light and sprang in and came trembling and fell down before Paul and Silas.
Right, this is a top man, right? Go on with a top military rank. Read.
And brought them out and said, sirs, what must I do to be saved? And they said, believe on the Lord Hamashiach Yahushua, and thou shalt be saved, and thy house.
Is that an Edomite? Him in his house. This is the first Edomite. When you got Cornelius, then this guy got saved, man. No, man. So you mean to tell me the keeper, you got Jake that worked for the prison, mainly Jake working these jails and prisons, man. Yeah. It's mainly Jake, man. You drive down the street, right around the corner where the jail is, man. It's nothing but Jakes coming in and out. That's like a hookup, man. Benefits, pension, you work for the city, right? Jessup, all these different places where you have predominantly Jake that are these correctional officers, man. You don't see too many Moabite correctional officers. They'll destroy them, man. Ammonite, they hired Jake, man. And you'll see a lot of Eves in that thing too, man, getting pregnant. So you had these Jakes. Right, that's right. Right, you have these things happening, man. So no marvel that these occupations, again, are Israelites with high positions in the military. We're reading about it in the Bible, and it's backed up even through secular history. You got a point?
Now, would you say Cornelius Sula was an Israelite?
I would say so. Right? I would say so. That was, I believe, during the time of the Roman Republic. Right? But that's something to look into. I believe so. So let's go back to Acts 10.
Book of Acts, chapter 10, in verse 2. A devout man.
Right?
And one that feared Yahweh with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to Yahweh always.
Does that sound like an Edomite? A devout man. Now, you have to be devout according to the law. Right? Go to Acts. I believe it says Ananias was a devout man according to the law. Let's see if I can get that real quick. Bear with me. I want to get that. Right? He was a devout man. I think it's 22 and 12, if I'm not mistaken. 22 and 12. Acts 22. So being devout doesn't mean that you were a good citizen and you held the door for people and you carried their groceries and you picked up that McDonald's cup on the street and you had that stick with the pointy thing, you put the trash on the highway, and that doesn't make you devout. Right? Read Acts 22 and 12.
Acts 22 and verse 12. And one Ananias, a devout man, according to the law, having a good report of all the Jews which dwelt there.
So you're only devout according to the law. So Cornelius knew the laws. He knew when to pray. He knew about fasting. He knew these things, man. Now the so-called white man's not going to keep the law. You understand? He's not going to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Look at Amalek. He's supposed to be the Lord's people, and they have kosher cigarettes. You can go to Jerusalem right now and get a kosher cigarette. They have kosher pig. They can't even, it's only a matter of time for that iron rust, man. They thought they could hold on to that 1948. It's only a matter of time. 5 years later, they have kosher pig. 30 years later, Tel Aviv is the homosexual capital of the world. In the homeland, huh? Our homeland, right now, the Amalekites are walking around butt naked, man on man. Right? And that's where you go when you want to freak off. So you go to San Francisco, then you go to Madrid, then you go to Atlanta. You get your rocks off in Atlanta, then you go to Vegas, and then you go to you go to Times Square, you see freaks, madness, then you go to Tel Aviv. Everybody's trying to go to Tel Aviv and deal with Amalek, man. Go to Psalm chapter 36 1. I got a quick precept. Come. Psalm chapter 36 and 1. To show that this devout man that feared God and prayed all the time is not an Edomite. That must be one hell of an Edomite. This must be the top Edomite. You got all Edomites the Lord hates, but this one he can make it. He's a hell of a guy, man. You know? Let's read this.
Psalms chapter 36 and verse 1. The transgression of the wicked saith within my heart, that there is no fear of Yahweh before his eyes.
Yeah, what does that mean? David said, when I see what the wicked do, there's no way they fear God. That's what he said. When I see the transgressions of the wicked, all I can think about is that they cannot fear God. Read that again.
The transgression of the wicked saith within my heart, that there is no fear of Yahweh before his eyes.
Right, but Acts 10 said he feared God. Right? But the Bible says the wicked, now you say, well, that's wicked Jake. No, that's not talking about wicked Jake. Sometimes Jake is wicked in the Bible there. Sometimes they're the wicked in Ezekiel 33 and other accounts. Right? But here, this is not the wicked. You may say, well, I don't see the word Esau in there. It don't say the Edomites. It don't have to say Edomites all the time. Stop looking for the word Esau all the time. Okay, it doesn't say Esau, so it must be. No, you have to be in the spirit, huh? Right? So let's read on.
Psalm 36.
Psalm 36, come.
Verse 2. For he flattereth himself in his own eyes.
Right?
Until his iniquity be found to be hateful.
Right?
The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He hath left off to be wise and to do good.
Yeah, but it said Cornelius gave much alms to the people. But the Edomites, they leave off from doing good. And they turn aside into darkness, crooked paths, and evil words. So as you read the account of Cornelius, it's like, how can you discern that this is a man of another nation? Right? When you see the traits, his characteristics, his spirit, you see how ancient Rome was, right? You understand who the Most High loves, who the Most High is dealing with, right? So you got it, King. Calm.
Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 21 and verse 14. And this is another account of the thoughts of the wicked, man. How they don't care about the Most High.
Job chapter 21 verse 14. Therefore they say unto Yahweh, depart from us.
They say to the Most High, depart from us, man. Why? Because they have everything. They have the gold and the wealth. They have all of the money and everything in the society, man. They said, depart from us. Read.
For we desire not the knowledge of thy ways.
And Esau is not a spiritual man. He's a carnal man. He wants to go to war. He wants to fight. He wants to kill. He wants blood. He wants to lock you up. He wants to conquer. He has nothing spiritual about him, man. He has no understanding to beseech the Lord when you don't have any bread. You know what he does? He kills for his bread, man.
That's right,
when he doesn't have anything, he doesn't come to the Most High to pray that the Lord open doors for him, man. He goes and takes it, man, and calls upon the spiritual demon Satan. Read on.
What is the Almighty that we should serve him?
And that's proud. What is the Lord that we should serve him, man? What do I need the Lord for? I got everything. Gold is my God. Read on.
And what profit should we have if we pray unto him?
Read on.
Lo, their good is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me.
The Lord said the counsel of the wicked is far from him. So their counsels, their thoughts, everything that they come together to do is far from the Lord, man. The Lord does not deal with them, and they don't deal with the Lord. They're proud. Read about that all throughout the Bible.
You got it. And I actually want to touch on that point you made. Go to Genesis. I want to add to Genesis 36 and start at 9. All right, to show you about the so-called white man. 36 and 9.
Book of Genesis, chapter 36. Stop here. 36 and verse 9.
Right.
And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons. Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau. Reuel, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau.
Now hold on now. The Lord said in Sirach, go to Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and 28 real quick. Right, so a man, your name shows a lot as a son about which a father's spirit is in. Right? So, you know, a father, he'll name his son something honorable. Or something that has something like John the Baptist. They said, well, you're going to name him John. That's not in your father's records, man. Right? Why don't you name him Zacharias? Why don't you name him this? Right? So your father's name, or your father naming you shows a lot. So now you have to ask yourself, okay, why did Esau name his son Eliphaz? Why did Esau name his son Reuel? Now let's go into the Hebrew for the word Eliphaz. Baba Kashad, can you pull that up, King? Right? We're going to show you what the word Eliphaz means. to show you the mentality of the so-called white man. Right? So let's bring it. And names had meanings back then. They didn't have them real, man.
36 and what?
36 and 9. Cut. 36 and 10. Slide. 36 and 10. Right? We will come up with some more Negro names too. So here's Eliphaz in the Hebrew. So Eliphaz means my God is fine gold. So why would Esau name his son my God is fine gold? Right? Because that shows his spirit, man. Our God is Yahweh. Right. And Esau knew about the Most High. He was raised under Isaac's household. It's not as if he was oblivious to the Lord, man. He had to pray the same way Jacob prayed. He had to keep the Sabbath. He had to keep these days. You understand? He had to have a beard on his face. He knew about the law. But he said, man, forget the Most High. My God is fine gold. Right? And Reuel, it means God is my friend. But he's not speaking about the Most High. He's speaking about gold. And that's why the so-called white man goes after gold. Right? So Cornelius, if he's an Edomite, why is he giving his gold and his alms to the people? Should he be keeping it to himself and robbing the Jews? You know? Let's go to, yes, I'm
Yeah, real quick, King. The book of Psalms, chapter 73 and verse number 9.
Right, this is another quick precept to tell you the mind of the wicked, man.
Book of Psalm, chapter 73 and verse 9. They set their mouth against the heavens.
The Lord said they set their mouth against the heavens. So everything pertaining to everlasting life, riches, understanding, the spirit, the Lord, the law, statutes, and commandments, they set their mouth against it, man. And they speak proud things against it. Read on.
And their tongue walketh through the earth.
And their tongue is proud and it walks through the earth. And they do what they want to do and speak proudly the things that they want, man, and not of the Lord. So that's the thought to the wicked. So it's no way possible through the spirit. We're not talking about where you're from, where you grew up, who you associated, who you went to work with. We're talking about your spirit, man. And you can tell if somebody's spirit is without God, if it's upright. You understand? You can tell if somebody's spirit is wicked, man. That's why the Lord said, let me get the class. The book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 16. Okay. Right? Romans chapter 8, verse 16. Class.
Romans chapter 8, verse 16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of Yahweh.
So how is Esau's spirit going to bear witness with these laws and these commandments and this prophecy and everlasting life and everything in this book, man? That's why the Lord said, what have I to do with you to keep the law in your mouth, man? Paraphrasing. In the book of Psalms, chapter 50 and verse 16. Because they can't deal with it, right. Nor was it given to them. No, that's right. That's right, man. Right? So these are, the precepts. You know how many chapters are against the so-called white men in the Bible? And the book of Job,
Every book.
And the Psalms. Yeah, every book, man. You read particular chapters, it's against the wicked. How you bring it up?
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2.
That's the spirit. I was about to call that chapter.
Verse 2 and verse 22. As for the mysteries of God, they knew them not. Neither hope they for the wages of righteousness, nor discern a reward for blameless souls.
That's right, man. And that whole chapter gets down, man. The Lord said, read verse 1, King Baba Kashab.
Verse 1. For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright.
Right, meaning when you read Wisdom of Solomon, the second chapter, the Lord shows you the mentality of the so-called white man. A lot of people want to know, what does the so-called white man feel about? Has he changed? When the Lord gives you the depths of his mind, man, here's the thoughts of the wicked, here's what they think about, but it's not the right way to go about it. Go on.
Our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. For we are born to all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we had never been. For the breath in our nostrils is as smoke, and a little spark in the moving of our heart.
That's it. That's right. Which means they believe that when you die, your spirit just vanishes in thin air. Right? You just die, your spirit. That means, you can do whatever you want to do.
Animals.
Yeah, man. Like a beast. There's a famous so-called white man. One of the prince. He's one of the former princes. of England, I believe. And he has a famous quote. He says, in the event that I die, I think it's Prince Charles. You brothers know that quote? He said, in the event that I die, I would like to be reincarnated. He said, I want to come back as a deadly virus. I want to come back as a deadly virus to wipe out humanity and help with overpopulation. That's Esau, man.
The same spirit from old,
Yeah.
the same spirit right now.
Who says that, man? See, Jake, you growing up, you want to be damn this guy, you want to be this guy. He wants to come back as a deadly virus. Yeah, he want to come back as monkeypox, man. Right, that's off. Only Esau would say that. Jake, you say, man, I want to be Abraham. I want to come back as Abraham. Man, from formerly I was Isaac, man. What do we talk about heavenly things? He's talking about he wants to come back as the Black Death, man. Right? So let's go back to Acts 10. I believe that was Prince Charles. Right? Prince Charles said that. If I'm not mistaken. Acts 10 and 3.
Book of Acts, chapter 10 and verse 3. He saw in a vision, evidently about the 9th hour of the day, an angel of Yahweh coming into him and saying unto him, Cornelius.
Right, go to Hebrews 1 and 14 real quick. Right, so the angels are ministers for the saints. Right, the angels don't come down to the Edomites and break down heavenly things for them. And okay, Esau, going to get this breakdown. Thou art found wanting as the greatest Edomite of your generation. Right? You have been found with acceptance and favor in the eyes of the Lord. The Lord isn't coming to Esau telling him that. Thou art highly favored and a man greatly beloved. Right? Bring that up, man. The Lord is not dealing with Esau.
Chapter 1 and verse 14. Are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister to them who shall be heirs of salvation?
So the angels are sent forth to serve the men who have salvation promised to them, which are the Israelites. So that's why the angel is sent to Cornelius to preach to him about salvation. When salvation's on the line and the angel comes to you, you have to be an Israelite. And that's a cut to you Muslims. When you Arabs that say Muhammad got a vision from call it Jibril or something like that, man. Oh, Jibril. Yeah, but they don't say Gabriel. I think they say Jibril. Yeah, they say something like that, man. It's madness, man. Yeah, Gabriel came down to Muhammad while he climbed the fence and broke the scriptures down to him. Gabriel's not coming down and breaking the scriptures down, man. Come to a white man, right? Muhammad is a so-called white man. You got something? Yeah, come. Let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 5 and verse 20. 2nd Esdras chapter 5 and verse number 20. And when Uriel the archangel was coming to Ezra, I believe Uriel means angel of light, man. So it's coming to give you light and understanding. Right. You understand that Ezra the prophet. That's right. Let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 5 verse 20.
2nd Esdras chapter 5 and verse 20. And it reads, and so I fasted 7 days, mourning and weeping, like as Uriel the angel commanded me. And after 7 days, so it was, that the thoughts of my heart were very grievous unto me again.
Right.
And my soul recovered the spirit of understanding.
The spirit of understanding was given by the angel. Read on.
And I began to talk with the Most High again.
And he began to talk with the Most High again. How do you talk to the Most High? Via the prophets, via dreams, via the angels. And the angel is a ministering spirit coming to the Israelites and nobody else. The angels don't come down and do what they want to do, man. Now, let me see what I'm going to talk to today. No, they literally are sent on missions, man. They literally have a mission. They're sent on earth for a specific duty. Whether that be a damn windstorm, an uproar of the people, a death angel to bring somebody to understanding, to save somebody's life. Whatever it is, they're ministering spirits sent from the Most High God for Israel. God, that's right, man. Let's go back to Acts. That's right, Acts chapter 10 and 4. So the angel came down to a vision at the 9th hour. Right? Now, the significance of the 9th hour is that's the hour of prayer. So why is an Edomite throwing the prayers at the hour of prayer? Give me Revelation 8 and 1, man. All right? The angels don't carry the prayers of the so-called white man. Okay, you got a lot for all. You got one altar for all of the saints in the third heaven. Then you got an altar for the nations, man. And the Most High, okay, do I want to accept the prayers of the nations? Okay, Israel, you hold off in your oppression. And Esau, what do you want? Right? That's not going on, man. So bring that up.
Revelation 8, verse 1. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And I saw the seven angels which stood before Yahweh, and to them were given seven trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar, which was before the throne.
Right?
And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before Yahweh out of the angel's hand.
Go to Tobit 12 and 15. Right? So the angels, they're breaking up any prayer that's being brought up before the Most High, it would be an Israelite. So here you have Cornelius praying, and the angel saying, your prayers have been answered by the Most High. Right? The Lord said, he that turneth away his ear from the law, even his prayer shall what? Shall be abomination. Then Esau turned away his ear from the law, unless there's some secret Edomite out there keeping the Passover. And he has a shofar, like we keep the shofar, he got a shofar strapped to him. Right? He got a mitre in a hand wrap that said Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Right? Bring that up. What do you call it? Tobit chapter. Yeah, Tobit chapter 12 and verse 15. It says, I am Raphael, one of the seven holy angels, which present the prayers of the saints, and which go in and out before the glory of the holy. You see that? So the angels and Raphael, he presents the prayers of the saints. Unless there's some white guy out there that's a saint. One among the Lord said, lo, this only have I found. Give me Ecclesiastes 7. Right? 7 and 28. Right? 7 and 29. Maybe this is speaking about Esau. Ecclesiastes 7 and 29.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7. Slakia and verse 29.
Start at 27.
Verse 27. Behold, this have I found, saith the preacher, counting one by one to find out the account.
So, I mean, that's essentially like a survey. Or you take a poll. Right? Go on.
Which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found.
Is that one man Esau?
Nah.
One man of 1,000. Right? You know, he had all these people the Lord keep asking. He finally got one righteous Edomite. Now, Doeg was an Edomite. What did Doeg do, right? He slew the priest.
Right.
And burned the city.
No.
And destroyed the cattle. Saul told him to slay the priest. He went above and beyond and destroyed the entire city of the priests. And killed all of them, man, their wives and children. Right? So, you know, that's not Cornelius. Cornelius is that brother in the military that's cool, man. That's that hour of prayer. Our prayer line. Go back to Acts where you left off.
10 and 4.
And you Christians, you got to deal with this. If Cornelius is a white man, go to Proverbs 15 and 8 real quick. Why is prayers being heard, man? You ask these Christians, does God hear the prayer of all nations? They may go to Isaiah 56, his house of prayer for all. We will deal with that. Then they may go to, but we cutting it up, man. Right? So let's bring that up.
Book of Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 8. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but the prayer of the upright is his delight.
That's playing upon tables. The Lord is not hearing the prayers of the wicked.
At all.
Right? No white man, if you're praying, your prayers aren't being heard.
No.
But by the spiritual demon Satan. You're not being heard on the right-hand side, but Satan is hearing your prayers. And Esau knows that. That's why they sell their soul, do blood contracts, put the pentagram, and light the candles, and write it in the Hebrew, and freak off in pentagrams, right? And they sell their soul to the spiritual demon Satan. And they pray for success in the world, multi-million-dollar record deals, $1 billion contracts, and they get these things. The Lord said there's a sinner that has good success in evil things. That's Sirach 20 and 9 on that. Right? Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 35 and verse 12. Book of Job, chapter 35 and verse number 12.
Book of Job, chapter 35 and verse 12. There they cry, but none giveth answer, because of the pride of evil men.
So you're going to have the wicked, they're going to cry out, but none's going to give answer. Just like in Psalms, the 18th chapter.
Right.
Lord said they cried, but no one heard them, huh? Even to the Lord, and he heard them not, huh?
Right.
So the Lord not hearing everybody's cry. The Lord doesn't care if you have an Edomite baby that's all by herself, it's a lonely, and it's an uproar of people, and the Lord is going to hear that little baby's cry. And the Lord doesn't care, man. The Lord is not man that has emotions like men have in this society, man. Because men get overthrown by their emotions. The Lord is not moving like that in that spirit, man. Right, read on.
Surely Yahweh will not hear vanity.
And what's vanity, the so-called white man? Praying for gold, more wealth, more land to conquer, more damn nations to beat down, and more philosophies to give out. The so-called white man not praying at all. And if he's praying that God loves everybody.
Right.
He's praying that every nation be one. He's praying the things contrary from the scriptures, which is vanity. Read on.
Neither will the Almighty regard it.
And the Lord's not hearing that, man. The Lord's not hearing the thoughts of the wicked, nor is it coming in his mind.
That's right, man. Let's go to Acts 10 again. And you may have a fool, like Robert was saying, you got these Catholic priests, you have the popes. People hold the Pope in high regard. Because he's in that glass box, man. Right? But the Lord doesn't answer the Pope's prayers. He's not the messenger of the Most High. The Pope is touching a little boy as we speak. Drinking a cup of baby blood, man. Doing God knows what, man.
I'm sitting on his right hand.
That's right, man. Hey, I went to a Catholic school for a few years, and they had this underground tunnel we found, man. We found the underground tunnel at the bottom of the school, a cave where the priests did things, man.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what they had, trophies in there, they had kid toys. And we tried to tell them, but they said, no, don't worry about that, don't worry about that. We reported it, they said, leave that alone, leave them alone. Right? So God knows what was happening at the bottom of that thing, man. Right in Mexican time. Right? Holy Redeemer. Right? For the local authorities, man. Right? You got something?
Nah, you got it.
All right, so let's go back to Acts 10.
Got it. Book of Acts chapter 10 and verse 4. And when he looked on him, he was afraid and said, What is it, Lord? And he said unto him, Thy prayers and thine alms are come up for a memorial before Yahweh.
Right. Esau's prayers are not coming up for memorial. Before the Most High, man. Right? And Esau's not fearing the angel. Esau will fight the angel. He's going to fight Yahushua. He's not looking at the angel being fearful. Go on.
And now send men to Joppa and call for one Simon, whose surname is Peter.
Right?
He lodgeth with one Simon a tanner, whose house is by the seas, like at the seaside. He shall tell thee what thou oughtest to do.
Right, read verse 6 again.
Kind.
So the angel told Cornelius, send your men to Joppa to bring Peter here. Go on.
Kind. He lodgeth, start at verse 5?
You can read 6 again.
Kind. He lodgeth with one Simon a tanner, whose house is by the seaside. He shall tell thee what thou oughtest to do.
Right, this is foreshadowing. So what's the job of a tanner? Any brother know?
Strip leather or something, right?
Right, they deal with dead beasts. And they make clothes and they make leather. And it's the most unclean, horrible job. I looked it up one day, man. It's the most filthiest thinkingest job. And they live on the outskirts of the Jews, and they're always unclean. Because they deal with the dead carcasses of the animals and the dyes and things of that nature. So him dwelling with a man that deals with the uncleanliness and deals with beasts is also foreshadowing of the Most High sending Peter and the apostles that deal with the Gentiles. And brothers understand, because our people who lived in the Gentile state of mind were unclean beasts. So the significance of a tanner helps you understand the mystery of Acts the 10th chapter as well. You can't just overread these words. So we put it up. The job of a tanner involves making leather from the hides of animals.
So Animal Rights Act, well, we don't have to read about all that, right? But they remove animal hair, excess fat, and all these things, man, every day. That's right, they stood between hunters and butchers and leather workers, so they dealt with dead bodies all the time. Dead beasts, carcasses, they stink. So he's always unclean, dealing with the wild beasts of the field, right? So again, Peter dwelling with that man, that shows you what the Most High is about to do, right? So let's read on.
Verse 7. And when the angel which spake unto Cornelius was departed, he called 2 of his household servants, and devout soldier of them that waited on him continually.
Right?
And when he had declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa.
Right?
On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour.
Right, about the 6th hour. Go on.
And he
That's
became,
around, that's 12 p.m.
and he became very hungry and would have eaten. But while they made ready to fell into a
He
trance.
fell into a trance. Right? He fell into a trance. Go on.
And saw heaven open, and a certain vessel descended unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the 4 corners and let down to the earth.
So again, we essentially going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We're going to deal with the unclean food, and we're going to deal with the Gentiles. So when you're out there on highways and byways, and you say you can't eat pork, they'll say, what about Cornelius? In your mind, you should trigger automatically, go to Acts chapter 10 and 10. Right? And then you start from Acts 10 and 10 on down, and you can start from 1 if you want to, right? But just if you want to get straight to the point, you know, and you want to go out there and just cut it up, you say, give me Acts chapter 10 and 10. I already know what you want to go into. So you have Acts 10 and 10 in your mind, you memorize that precept, you know how to go into it, and then you just start breaking it down. Now, read Acts 10 and 11 again.
Verse 11. And saw heaven open, and a certain vessel descended unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the 4 corners and let down to the earth.
Go to Hosea 12 and 10. Right? This is a what? A similitude. Right? A similitude. Yes, he physically saw this great sheet coming down, but it represents something deep. Right? Let's bring that up.
Hosea chapter 12 and verse 10. I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets.
Right, so a similitude compares one thing to another. Right, so as we read this account, you have 4 sheep, you have a sheet knit at 4 corners. That means something. You have wild beasts, 4-footed beasts. That means something. Being let down to the earth. That means something. You understand? All of these things mean something. Now, even a certain vessel, right? The Lord said, I saw heaven open and a certain vessel. Go to Hosea 8 and 8.
Hosea chapter 8 and verse 8. Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure.
No, righteousness is there.
Wherein is no pleasure.
So what do the Gentiles compare it to? A vessel. Of what? No pleasure. So you have this vessel coming down that's symbolic for the Most High being displeased with our people in the Gentile state of mind. You also have in this vision, Salakia, a great sheet knit at the 4 corners. What is that going into?
Scatter.
The what?
Scatter.
The scattering of Israel, right? Or at the 4 corners of the earth. Because the Gentiles were people were scattered through the 4 corners, dispersed. Go to Deuteronomy 32 and 26. It's not knit at 1 corner. It's not knit at this 4 corners, because our people again are scattered through the 4 corners of the earth. Deuteronomy 32 and 26.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, and verse 26. And it reads, I said, I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
Right, that's our people became Gentiles, man. Scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth. And give me Isaiah 11 and 15. And our remembrance, our nationality, was taken away from us. Right? Let's go to Isaiah 11 and even 15.
Isaiah chapter
Isaiah 11 and 12. So like,
Isaiah 11
you
and
start
verse,
at 11.
and verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria,
People in Assyria,
and from Egypt, and from Paphros,
right?
and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea.
Right?
And he shall set up an ensign for the nations.
An ensign is a banner, for lack of better terms, where you rally all your soldiers together if they were dispersed and scattered. It's called a standard bearer, right? Go on.
And shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah Salakia, from the four corners.
From the what?
From the four corners of the earth.
From the four corners of the earth. So our people were scattered through the four corners of the earth, symbolic as a vessel wherein is no pleasure, with all manner of unclean beasts. What are the unclean beasts symbolic of? What kind of man? A Gentile man. Right? And that the Christians don't go precept upon precept. Right? So they can't explain the vessel or the four corners or the beast. They're just reading pork and they're just thinking pork. Ribs. You got that thought bubble. Right? One thing's bubble, and they're just thinking of themselves eating ribs, man. Right? And chitlins. And squeezing the feces out the chitlins. So they can marinate them in vinegar, man. And eat the leftovers, throw them in the microwave. And stink up the joint, man. Go to the, you got it, guys. I got the book of Job, chapter 39 and verse, right? Start at verse number 2.
Job 39, verse 2.
Start at 4. 39 and 4.
Book of Job, chapter 39, verse 4. Their young ones are in good lichen. They grow up with corn. They go forth and return not unto them. Who hath sent out the wild ass free? Or who hath loosed the bands of the wild ass?
Right, so the Lord is equating Israel to a wild ass, man. You understand? So we're likening it to certain animals in the scriptures too, just like Esau is likening the animals. When you read the book of Job, the 39th chapter, it's a list of all of these different beasts. And these beasts take on the attributes of man. You have Esau, he's a serpent. Right. He's an adder, he's slick. You understand? He's an eagle, he's a vulture. He sits up there, he takes down the prey. You had Israel like an ass, a dumb animal, just lost, just don't know what's going on, kicking in brain and being rebellious. You wrap that horse bridle around him, trying to pull him, trying to take him back home, but he don't want to do that because he's rebellious and he's stiff-necked and he's doing about it like a sheep, man. A sheep is docile and quiet, but there's for lack of better terms, they're lost, right? And they just drift away a lot of the times. You have to pull a sheep and you have to lead them. Because if you have 1,000 sheep and you're not leading them, you're going to have 200 over here, 200 down there, and you're going to have 900 falling off a cliff. They didn't fall off a cliff because they thought food was over there. They would follow on the next sheep and the next sheep. And if you hear the screams of the sheep, and all the hell breaking loose, the sheep is not going to say, what's going on? They're just going to, and it's going to be too late, man. Next thing you know, you're going to hear a damn splat. Right? Yeah, you got it. Like a hireling, man. Yeah. Right? Go to the book of Psalms 49 and 20, a classic. Right? So these are precepts that brothers should have in their arsenal. As you know how to break down John 3:16, break it down Acts 10 and 10 on down, but it should be something brothers should strive to work on and perfect, man. Because that's a common stumbling block of Christianity, man. Right. And as we go on the highways and byways, it's not a strange thing that we'll see that, man. And you'll say, let me go into it. And you'll go into this chapter and that chapter. Rather, you got to write it down, highlight it. But brothers work on mastering these stumbling blocks, man. So let's bring that up. Psalms 49 and 20.
Book of Psalms 49 and verse 20. Man that is in honor and understandeth not is like the beasts that perish.
That's plain.
You have men that are in honor. You have your Jay-Z's, your Beyonce's, your Bidens, your athletes, celebrities, politicians. They're in honor amongst men. They're famous, but without the understanding, they're just like a beast, man. They're literally just like a beast. A beast do anything, man. A beast eats anything. They'll eat their food bloody. Man eats their, I've never seen a lion say, I need some black pepper. Where's the black pepper? Right? Somebody get the season on. They season the salt. And they're not worried about seasoning their food, man. I never saw a lion bind up to a gazelle and say it's not done yet. Right? Can you flip it over for 30 more minutes, man? They're beasts. So man do the same thing. Hey, a dog, a wild dog, he'll just get up and start freaking off on your leg, man. Just have sex with anything. Pillows, legs, they slip another thing, they just do God knows what. Right? No discretion. And that's what man does, man. Man doesn't have any discretion. Man, you'll have sex with anything. You'll get into freaking nastiness, man. Like a dog. Like a pig. They say you eat like a pig, man. Right? You just literally, so man, you can have no understanding. You're just like the beast that perish. I got one more real quick. Go to 1 Corinthians 15 to 32, man. Actually, go to, read that.
It's the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and 32. If after the manner of men I have fought with beasts at Ephesus.
Right, after the manner of men I have fought with beasts at Ephesus. Go on.
What advantage it me if the dead rise not? Let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we die.
It is no account of Paul being a gladiator fighting wild beasts at Ephesus. Read Acts 17, Acts 18, Acts 19, and see what Paul was dealing with at Ephesus, man. It was a riot out there, man. So, after the manner of men, you can be called a beast. You understand? So, just keep that in mind. When you see this word beast in the Bible, it's often being used to describe man and a lower state without wisdom.
And you can get the book of Sirach chapter 17 and verse number 4. Book of Sirach chapter 17 and verse number 4. You also can read about that in Daniel chapter 7 and 17. Going into those beasts.
Book of Sirach chapter 17 and verse 4. And put the fear of man upon all flesh, and gave him dominion over beasts and fowls.
Right, read on.
They received the use of the 5 operations of the Lord.
Right, so the Lord said the man received the use of 5 operations. And brothers know what that is.
Right.
Right, read on.
And in the 6th place, he imparted them understanding.
In the 6th place, he imparted them understanding.
And in the 7th, speech and interpreter of the cogitations thereof.
Right. And the so-called white man, he has no understanding. And he has no interpretations of the parables and the prophecies and understanding. Right. Therefore, he would be just like a beast. Because a beast could smell, a beast could touch, right? A beast could hear. The same operations of the 5 that the Lord has given beasts, he has given a so-called white man. Right. The white man has no understanding. Therefore, he can never be associated with the scriptures, the Son of God, a man of understanding. He has no type of interpretations, nor can he form the understanding of what is going into in the Bible. You can't just read, okay, this is going into that. Okay, link that up. This is that precept. And now you have the understanding working with you. The so-called white man has no understanding. Therefore, with the 5 operations, he would be likened unto a beast.
Come. Tell you that in Job, that 30th chapter, by the bushes they braid. Right? And they were cutting up mallows by the roots and living in caves, man. Walking, there are some Edomites that walk on all 4s to this day. And they're born with tails. Right? That's something that Esau don't want to talk about, huh? He doesn't want to talk about the fact that 99% of them have tails. When they're born out the womb, man. See, Jake, you get circumcised. Esau got to get his tail cut off, man, on the 8th day, man. Right? And they cut his tail off, and God knows where those tails are in these Edomites' houses. You know they keep them. If they're eating their placenta, what are they doing with their tails, man?
Probably eating them too.
Probably eating their tails. Right? So Esau is a beast, man. One more, Psalm 73. And Jake, you're a beast too, man. You say that. I'm a beast, man. But dog, I need Jake freestyle and you got somebody holding you like you a damn pit bull, man.
Like DMX spirit.
Yeah, holding you back. And then you let the man go and he go out and you start to get up and you start damn crunking, man. Yeah, it's holding my dogs out, man. So Jake, you're a beast, man.
Go ahead.
Jacob, I'm gonna go ape. I'm gonna do so and so, man. I think Esau said, I'm gonna go ape on you, man. you just throw these terms out there, man. Eve, you call Eve a chicken head. You know, Jake, that's my dog. So these are these terms, and those people never have wisdom. You don't say that. All right, that's my. You don't call, that's my dog, right? That's my brother. That's a king right there, right? Right, but men without understanding, who you smoking weed with, holding the block down, that's your dog. Y'all are beasts, man. Right? Bring that out.
73 and what?
73 and 18, Psalms.
Well, Psalms 73 verse 18. Surely thou didst set them in slippery places. Thou catest them down into destruction. How are they brought into this desolation? As in a moment.
Jump to verse 22, straight to the point.
Verse 22. So foolish was I and ignorant. I was as a beast before thee.
See that? Foolish and ignorance makes you a beast. That's what David said. David said, when I looked at the wicked, I almost got caught up, man. I had to catch myself. I was tripping, man. I saw them prospering. I saw them living good. Damn, the Most High only set them up to destroy them. Sometimes, Jake, you'll be like that, man. You look at these names, man, I wish I got to remember the Most High set them up to destroy them. Damn, I can't believe I was even thinking like that, man. Had to catch myself. That's what David said, man. So foolish was I and ignorant, I was a beast before thee. No, you bring it up.
Daniel 4 and 32. And they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee, until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth to whomsoever he will. The same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar, and he was driven from men, and did eat grass as oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like birds' claws.
Can't get around that, right? He actually became a beast. Herod was called a fox. The white man's called a fox in the Bible too, man. Right? Sly nature, cunning, nocturnal creature. Okay.
Psalm to the 102 verse 6. I am like a pelican of the wilderness. I am like an owl of the desert. I watch and am as a sparrow alone upon the housetop.
You see that? So guess what, man? We watch. And owls stay watch at night. You understand? And they have the best vision than any creature, man. And they can see the other beasts of the field that creep off at night, man. So a man of the Lord, you're likened unto an owl. Right? So let's go back to Acts 10. So now we understand what these beasts represent. They represent our people and the Gentile state of mind. Not pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster, man. Right? Acts 10, and let's read 11 or 12.
Acts chapter 10 and verse
12.
Verse 12. Wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean.
That's a blessing, man. Raised up in a dietary law. Never tasted pork before. Never had shrimp before. Right? Go on.
And the voice spake unto him again the second time, What Yahweh hath cleansed.
What?
What Yahweh hath cleansed.
Read that again.
What Yahweh hath cleansed.
Right?
That call not thou common. This was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven.
Right. Now, what the Most High hath cleansed, first of all, Peter didn't eat it. So you Christians who are watching this, where's the account of Peter eating it, man? All right, let's kill and eat. Right? He slew the swine, man, and ate it. First of all, he didn't eat it. Second of all, it's spiritual, because the Most High said, what I have cleansed. Go to Job 14 and 4. Right? It's the Most High going to finally cleanse the pork. Open up his pores. The pig wakes up screaming because his pores are opening up. And he's trying to figure out what's happening to him. Right? And then the parasites leave his body. Then he has a white. Instead of pig being pink, it's all white. And he started chewing the cud, man. Right? He started looking at the mud kind of crazy, man. That's not the pig. Is not going to change his ways, man. That's 2 Peter 2:19 on that. So read that.
Job chapter 14 and verse 4. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one.
That's plain. Can't take something unclean and all of a sudden it's clean. You can't change the, now the Most High can do what he wanted to do, right? But this isn't speaking about food, right? This is speaking about what? Man being cleansed. Hey, guess what? We're being cleansed, right? That he may sanctify and cleanse it with what? The word. Go to Ephesians 5 and 26. So it's really a prophecy of the Gentiles being cleansed with the word of God, right? Not your pastor who says you can eat anything, right? So bring that up.
Book of Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 26. That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word.
That's plain. So you're cleansed with the word. What God hath cleansed, that call not thou common. So the Most High is going to cleanse the Gentile spirit and allow them to be grafted in through faith along with you Jews.
Okay.
Ezekiel 36 and 24.
Okay.
Ezekiel 36, actually read 23. Ezekiel chapter, 36 and 22.
Okay. Book of Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 22. Therefore say unto the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I do not this for your sakes, O house of Israel, but for mine holy name's sake, which ye have profaned among the heathen, whither ye went.
Right, which you profaned among the heathen. Now when you go to Romans, I believe that's Romans, the 2nd chapter, the Most High said that my name has been blasphemed through you. See if I can get that real quick. Salakia. Romans 2 and 24 at the water.
Okay.
Romans 2 and 24.
Romans 2 verse 24.
Now the Lord called them the house of Israel. Now the Romans, they would have to be Israelites, man. Because that same prophecy on them in Ezekiel 36 and 23 on down about them coming amongst the Gentiles and being profaned is being used again on them years later as they live in a Gentile state of mind in Rome. Right, brothers, understand that? All right, Romans 2, read that, King.
Romans 2 and verse 24. For the name of Yahweh is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written.
Where is it written? In Ezekiel the 36th chapter. So these Romans are Israelites, man. Right? So when our forefathers were scattered through Rome, Asia Minor, other parts of the earth, they blasphemed the name of the Lord. And they became a mockery amongst the Gentiles in the Bible. But the Lord is cleansing them. That's why Paul went to Rome. That's why he went to Spain, or he desired to go to Spain. He went to Pontus and Thessalonica, to these places where our people were Gentiles, teaching them the gospel to bring them back to the Most High. Go back to Ezekiel 36. Okay.
Ezekiel
where you left off.
36 and verse 23. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am the Lord, saith the Lord Yahweh, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries, and will bring you into your own land.
It's like that vision, right? Go on.
Then will I sprinkle clean water, Slakia, upon you, and ye shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you.
That's what the Most High means when he says, what God hath cleansed, that call not thou common. He's speaking about cleansing you with the word, man. From your pollutions and from your idols. Not spots and stains on your carnal skin and these members, but your wicked works, man. And we all have to be cleansed. You're living out that prophecy right now, man. Some men were into Christianity, some men were into Islam, some men were atheists, agnostic, unbelievers, scoffers. Whatever sin or life you live, you have been cleansed by the word of the Most High, man. You got a point, Michael?
Yeah, I had Ephesians 2 and 11 through 13.
We're going to hold that one. That's a good precept, right? We're going to hold it, though. So let's go back to Acts chapter 10.
Book of Acts, chapter 10 and verse 13.
Now, it was done thrice. I want to touch on that point, too. What does thrice mean?
3 times.
Right, 3 is emphasis or completion, which lets you know it has to be deeper than pork. It has to be deeper than crab, shrimp, and lobster. So you Christians, why was it done thrice? Well, the Lord really wants us to eat it. That's not what it's talking about. Doesn't mean the Lord really, really wants you to eat pork, man. Or he really, really, really 3 times wants you to squeeze that feces out of those chitlins, man. Or hog maw. Or fatback. 3 times is emphasis. The Lord called Samuel 3 times. The Apostle Paul prayed that the demon might leave him 3 times. Cock crowed 3 times for Peter denied Yahushua. Daniel prayed 3 times. Yahushua told Peter, feed my lambs 3 times. He appeared before the apostles before Pentecost 3 times after his resurrection. So 3 plays a prominent role in the Bible. You understand? For emphasis or significance. Which lets you know whatever's happening, if it's done 3 times, take heed to it. Consider it. If you have the same dream 3 times in a row, don't just brush that off, man. If you have a dream about you, damn, holding the Bible and a demon rip the Bible up and throw you back in the world 3 times. You have it back to back to back nights, man. Demon ripping up your Bible, throwing you back in the world, man. And you wake up in church and you a pastor, right? Maybe you should check your spirit, man. Brother, I don't know what that dream means. I keep waking up and this demon rips my Bible, throws me back in the world, and I'm teaching Christianity all over again. That doesn't mean anything. I can't wait for that, right? Should have studied, whatever. No discernment. Then the brother ends up going back in the world, man. Becoming a Christian pastor because he doesn't understand the spiritual things, man. So pay attention to those 3s, the 7s. That doesn't mean get into numerology and doing damn codes. Don't get too deep into it, all right? We're not even going to break it down like that because Jake can start freaking off with the numbers. Yep. Right? Somebody asked you about 4. Right? They want to do things, and Judah, you're holding the 4 up, right? You're doing the 4 arm. You got to stop that, man. Right? Go back to Acts 10. That's my lucky number. I see that. My number fell. You're looking on the license plate for 144 all the time. Right? Saw the sign, take a picture of something. Yeah, it says sign 144. Okay, brother. Just because you saw the sign going downtown for 144 doesn't, brother, Jake, you play the lottery. Right? You gotta get, Jake, you get real big into numbers, man.
I seen a brother post 1:44 p.m. every single day.
Yeah, I mean, come on, brother. I mean, we understand the brother's spirit, but Jake, you don't want to get too deep into it. We dare make not ourselves part of that number. Right? So let's go back to Acts 10.
Acts 10 and verse 16. Acts chapter 10 and verse 16. This was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven.
Right?
Now, while Peter doubted in himself what this vision which he had seen should mean, behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house and stood before the gate.
So now the men are waiting outside. Go on.
And called and asked whether Simon, which was surnamed Peter, were lodged there.
Does Simon live here, Rito, or Peter? Go on.
While Peter thought on the vision, the Spirit said unto him, behold, 3 men seek thee.
Right.
Arise, therefore, and get thee down, and go with them, doubting nothing, for I have sent them.
Right.
Then Peter went down to the men which were sent unto him from Cornelius, and said, behold, I am he whom ye seek. What is the cause wherefore ye are come? And they said, Cornelius, the centurion, a just man, and one that feareth Yahweh, and of good report among all the nation of the Jews.
Yeah, Esau doesn't have a good report with the Jews. Go on. Salaki, can I get a quick precept? Can we go to Acts 16 and verse 1? Because Timotheus was in good report amongst all the brethren.
Right.
His father was a Greek, but he was an Israelite.
Right.
Just to bring up that same point.
Book of Acts, chapter 16 and verse 1. Then came he to Derbe and Lystra, and behold, a certain disciple was there named Timotheus, the son of a certain woman, which was a Jewess, and believed, but his father was a Greek.
Right, which is Timothy. Right, read on.
Which was well reported of by the brethren that were at Lystra and Iconium.
Right, so he was well reported of the brethren, man. I mean, he was on fire for the Lord, and they understood who he was. So if you're well reported to these men in Jerusalem, that says a whole lot, man. They were extremely over righteous. Here's one more. Go to 3 John, verse 12. Right, 3 John and verse 12. Never had a so-called white man have a good report with me, man. Right? Bring that up.
3 John and 12.
3 John and 12.
Demetrius have good report of all men, and of the truth itself, yea, and we also bear record, and ye know that our record is true.
So Demetrius was on fire. He had a good report of the truth, and of all men, and of the apostles, and it was true, man. So we don't know who this guy was. It's not too much said about this guy, but he had to be a mighty man. Right? That's all the Lord wants you to know about Demetrius. So we can go back to Acts 10, and that's enough, man. Right? Acts 10.
Acts 10.
And we can read verse 22.
And they said, Cornelius, the centurion, a just man, and one that feareth Yahweh, and of good report, among all the nation of the Jews, was warned from Yahweh by a holy angel to send for thee into his house, and to hear words of thee. Then called he them in, and lodged them. And on the morrow Peter went away with them, and certain brethren from Joppa accompanied him.
Right, the brethren are the Israelites. He's rolling with his men, his brothers. Go on.
And the morrow after they entered into Caesarea, and Cornelius waited for them, and had called together his kinsmen and near friends. And as Peter was coming in, Cornelius met him, and fell down at his feet, and worshipped him. But Peter took him up, saying, Stand up, I myself also am a man.
Yeah, no man can be bowing down to another man. Right, that's off. Go on. The Moabites do that. The Moabites bow down to each other. Right? And that's a sign of respect. You have to bow down to. We're not bowing down to no Moabites. Oh, but you have to be tolerant of his culture. The hell with his culture, man. Right? He should be bowing down to us. He could bow down to us.
That's right.
It's like they wanted Mordecai to kiss his ring. Right. Imagine kissing the white man's ring. Boy, no. Come on, man.
They were all out of that.
Hold his ring out, his damn blood on it.
And that's what the Pope do. He go like this.
Yeah. Like the damn God, come on, the Godfather. Come on,
Just
son.
nah.
And you gotta kiss his ring, man. We're not kissing white men's rings up here. This is not
At all.
nothing. So bring that up, man.
Verse 27.
You got Jake, but you gotta use wisdom. You gotta, brother. That's not what that's talking about, right? Right? You gotta be wise as a serpent, brother. We're not kissing the white man's ring, huh? Right? So bring that up.
And as he talked with him, he went in and found many that were come together. And he said unto them, Ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. But Yahweh have shewn me that I should not call any man common or unclean.
Yeah, the law, go to Leviticus 20 and 26. Right, here's the law. Right? Brothers may say, well, where's the law when you can't deal with the... Where's the law right here in the Bible?
Book of Leviticus, chapter 20, and verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people.
That's the law. You can't intermingle and dwell amongst the heathen. They can be your servants, your handmaids, but living amongst them, eating bread with them. Even a woman at the well, who was an Israelite Gentile, said that the Jews have what? No dealings with the Samaritans. So that's a concept all throughout the Bible. That's a cut to you Jakes, man, who want to hang around the nations. The Lord severed you from them. But I have white friends, right? Can I hold on to my Moabite friend? Wasn't Daniel? No, brother, you can't hang on to your Edomite friends. But I'm strong in the faith. They can't influence me. We just go out and we have drinks together and have wine. All right, brother, you keep doing that if you want to. There was that so-called black woman who had a sleepover with those Eves, and she ended up dead, man. I think they threw her off the balcony, and nobody knows what happened to her. We had a brother hanging around, and he got rolled up in a gym mat, man. And they took his organs. So you keep hanging around these nations if you want to, man.
And Salaki, another quick point. If brother seen the movie 12 Years a Slave, it was the two Edomites that was befriending the Jacob.
Yeah.
And they took him out to dinner, they wined and dined them, they was laughing. He was, oh, what are you saying? Right? Them being all friends with the Edomites, next thing you know, they drugged them, took him upstairs, right? And then he woke up in slavery, man. So you can't trust these damn devils, man. No matter what's going on. And he tried, and they literally act as if they was he was going to play the fiddle or whatever and take him all the way across Washington or wherever he was going. He was from Washington. They was going to take him down south. Whatever the case was going on in the movie, I ain't seen it in a minute. They befriend them, they give them money. They came up with this whole scheme just to put him in slavery, man.
That's right, man. Never trust, and that's what we were telling Eve last night. Never trust your enemy, man.
That's right.
Don't let your daughters play with the white man police, man. Right? Oh, she's reaching for the gun. Right? Then he do things, man. So let's go back to Acts 10, where we left off. Now read 28 again.
God.
Now if you out there on the highways and byways, you want to get straight to the point, just say, give me Acts 10 and 28. Right? You might see brothers just go straight to the head. If you're dealing with scoffers, and now if you want to build and you want to edify, and people are listening, and you want to magnify the name of the Most High, you break it down. You can slow roast it, or you got instant mashed potatoes. Right? You take them out, you got to skin the mashed potatoes, you got to boil them, you got to mash them up, throw butter in there, a little bit of salt. You can't make no mashed potatoes like that. It takes time, huh? You got to let them boil, or you get the nasty instant mashed potatoes. You rip it up, you boil your hot water, throw it in there,
Put the flakes in there.
put the little flakes in there, right? You throw your little salt and pepper in there, put a little hot sauce, cheese, whatever you want to do, man. Put it in a little plastic bowl and sit down and eat your food, man. And still potatoes, right? So you can do the instant mashed potatoes and go to Acts 10 and 28. You see, it says, call any man common or unclean, not any food. Or you can grind and skin the potatoes and build it up and go through the precepts, man. Either way, they're going to eat, right? So read 28 again.
God.
And you the chef in this thing, man. Right? You have all this food at your disposal, man. And you can chop it up and mince it the way you want it, huh? As long as the people eating and getting edified. And you gotta know how much somebody need too, huh? Right? As people, you gotta look, they starving back there. And you gotta get in that kitchen and start grinding, man. You can't give a starving man instant mashed potatoes.
At all.
Right? Now a man that he's eating a lot, he just need a quick snack, and you eat some instant mashed potatoes. The guy haven't eaten in a while, you gotta kind of throw down, huh? Might give him some water, some bread, a little bit of honey on it. And you might give him a glass of wine. What goes good with potatoes? Steak. Give him some steak, man. Right? Give him some steak and some potatoes. Spiritually. So let's go on.
God. Acts 10 and verse 28. And he said unto them, ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. But Yahweh has shewn me that I should not call any man common or unclean.
Right?
Therefore came I unto you without gainsaying as soon as I was sent forth. I asked therefore, for what intent ye have sent for me? Verse 30. And Cornelius said, 4 days ago I was fasting until this hour, and at the 9th hour I prayed in my house, and behold, a man stood before me in bright clothing.
Right, that's an angel, right? He's breaking down what happened to him. So everybody's on one accord. Go on.
And said, Cornelius, thy prayer is heard, and thine arms are had in remembrance in the sight of Yahweh.
Right?
Send therefore to Joppa, and call hither Simon, whose surname is Peter. He is lodged in the house of one Simon a tanner by the seaside, who, when he cometh, shall speak unto thee. Immediately therefore I sent to thee, and thou hast well done that thou art come. Now, therefore, are we all here present before Yahweh, to hear all things that are commanded thee of Yahweh.
Right?
Then Peter opened his mouth and said, Of a truth, I perceive that Yahweh is no respecter of persons.
Right. Go on.
But in every nation, he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with him.
Does that mean the Edomite nation, the Moabite nation, the sons of Cush, Ham, right? In every nation, go to the book. First of all, go to Exodus 2 and 25. Right? The Most High respects Israel over these nations. Right? So this is dealing with the Most High's and no respect amongst the Israelites, regardless of what nation you live in. Whether you're from Jerusalem or from Pontus. If you're keeping the commandments, you're still going to make it out of here, man. So bring that out, King.
Exodus 2, verse 25. And Yahweh looked upon the children of Israel, and Yahweh had respect unto them.
You can't get around that. So the Lord has respect unto nations. Right? That's in Wisdom of Solomon. Right? Go to Wisdom of Solomon. I believe that's 3 and 8. If I'm not mistaken.
3.
We had...
They shall judge the nations.
Wisdom of Solomon, he had to respect unto his chosen, and maybe the 4th chapter, 4 and 15. Grace and mercy.
It's come. Grace and mercy is
come.
It's come. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 15. This the people saw and understood it not, neither laid they up this in their minds, that his grace and mercy is with his saints, and that he have respect unto his chosen.
So the Lord does have respect unto the Israelites. You can't get around it. But now it says in Acts 10, in every nation. Can you go into that in the Greek? Right? To show you what that's going into. In every nation. And then, Jonah, go to Acts 2 and 5. Because you have Israelites in every nation. The Most High is not looking at the Israelite in Jerusalem who committed murder. He can get away with it. But the Israelite in Rome, he gets destroyed. Oh, you should have been in Jerusalem. That's not in the Bible, man. Rather, whatever city or nation you dwell in, if you work righteousness, you'll be accepted of the Most High.
That's right.
We don't dwell in Jerusalem. At Most High willing, we're accepted. You have brothers in Canada, brothers in Scotland, brothers in France, all over the world, man. Now, when you go into this word, let me see if this is what I want to go into. Hold on, you got it, King. I want to find it. Let's go to the book of Acts, chapter 2.
Acts 2 and 5.
Yeah.
Book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 5. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven.
Out of every nation under heaven. Go to the book of Acts, chapter 22. And verse number 2.
Book of Acts 22, verse 2. And when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, they kept their more silence, and he said, I am verily a man which am a Jew, born in Tarsus.
Right, so Paul was born in Tarshish, read.
A city in Cilicia, yet brought up in the city at the feet of Gamaliel, and taught according to the perfect manner of the law of the fathers, and was zealous toward Yahweh, as ye all are this day.
Right, so everybody doesn't come physically from Jerusalem. That doesn't mean that they're not associated with the words of the Lord, man, or the Lord's not dealing with them, man. Hey, Philip, he was born in Bethesda. You got Paul, he was literally born in Tarshish. You have these men that's coming from the outskirts as well, that's literally accepted and coming before the Lord in Jerusalem, man. Right? Let's go to the book of Acts, the 5th chapter. Let's go to Acts chapter 5 and verse number 36. Salakia, verse 34.
Acts chapter 5, verse 34. Then stood there of one in the council, a Pharisee named Gamaliel, a doctor of the law, had in reputation among all the people, and commanded to put the apostles forth a little space.
Right, so they had to come to Jerusalem to get taught by this man, Gamaliel. So Paul wasn't from Jerusalem, but yet he traveled here to be brought up by this man at his feet. So you had a lot of people traveling to Jerusalem to be taught and to be guided and be brought up. Right? Let's go to the book of Acts chapter 15 and verse number 3. Number 2 is the point.
Book of Acts, chapter 15, and verse 2.
Right?
When therefore Paul and Barnabas had no small dissension and disputation with them, they determined that Paul and Barnabas and certain other of them should go up to Jerusalem,
towards Jerusalem,
unto the apostles and elders about this question.
and about those questions. So they had to go up to Jerusalem. So everybody wasn't in Jerusalem. Go to the book of Galatians chapter 1, right, and verse number 17.
Book of Galatians chapter 1 and verse 17. Neither went I up to Jerusalem to them which were apostles before me, but I went into Arabia and returned again unto Damascus. Then after 3 years I went up to Jerusalem to see Peter and abode with him 15 days.
So you had certain pillars of the church that were already in Jerusalem that stayed there. Then you had certain apostles and disciples that were on the outskirts, man. Right, read on.
Verse 19. But other of the apostles saw I none save James, the Lord's brother. Now the things which I write unto you, behold, before Yahweh I lie not. Afterwards I came into the regions of Syria,
That's Assyria,
and Cilicia, and was unknown by face unto the churches of Judea, which were in Yahushua. But they had heard only that he which persecuted us in times past now preacheth the faith which once he destroyed, and they glorify Yahweh in me.
right, and that's plain, man. Right, so Paul was traveling all over, and then you had certain men that were set up in Jerusalem. God. So we can go on, right? That's Orion made the excellent point.
Go back to 10.
10 and 36, 10 and 35. Right, so we have Israelites in every nation, right? That's James 1 and 1 to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, and many other precepts. Regardless of the nation you live in, it doesn't matter as long as you work righteousness. Right, go on. And Cornelius, not being from Jerusalem or not being classified as a Jew, he would be classified a Gentile, which in the Greek, which is ethnos, meaning of another nation, not based off of blood, but based off of what? Your words. Right? That's where Ephesians 2 and 11 comes in. Bring that out, King. Ephesians 2 and 11, real quick. Right?
Ephesians chapter 2
2 and 11.
and verse 11. Wherefore remember that ye, being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands.
So out there in Ephesus and Asia Minor, and along with a lot of other men, they were called Gentiles by their own people. Why? Because they lived like the Gentiles. They worshiped the Greek gods, physically uncircumcised, and all manner of prostitution, homosexuality, sorcery. So like our people in the highways and byways, they're Gentiles. We say, what would the world call you? They say black man. That's a Gentile. What would the world call you? Cuban. You're a Gentile. So, brothers understand the point. Let's read on to Acts 10. 10 and 36.
Acts 10 and verse 36. The word which Yahweh sent unto the children of Israel.
So the word of every nation being accepted, or every man in every nation, that word is only sent to the children of Israel. That's another chop right there. It's only for the children of Israel. Go on.
Preaching peace by Yahushua HaMashiach. He is Lord of all.
Right?
That word I say ye know, which was published throughout all Judea, and began from Galilee after the baptism which John preached, how Yahweh anointed Yahushua of Nazareth with the Holy Ghost and with power, who went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for Yahweh was with him.
So you can be oppressed by demons too. The so-called white man and actual demons, man.
Con.
Oppressing you. Go on.
And we are witnesses of all things which he did both in the land of the Jews and in Jerusalem, whom they slew and hanged on a tree.
Right?
Him Yahweh raised up the third day and shewed him open.
He was resurrected. Go on.
Not to all the people, but unto witnesses chosen before of Yahweh.
So the resurrection is not for everybody. That was for chosen people, the apostles. Go on.
Even to us, who did eat and drink with him after he rose from the dead.
Right?
And he commanded us to preach unto the people and to testify that it is he which was ordained of Yahweh to be the judge of quick and dead.
Right, meaning the living and the dead. Go on.
The quick and the dead. Verse 43, to him give all the prophets witness that through his name whosoever believeth in him shall receive remission of sins.
There's that whosoever. Right, you brothers know how to deal with the whosoever. Right, go on.
While Peter yet spake these words, the Holy Ghost fell on all them that heard the word.
Right, now, is the Edomite catching the Holy Spirit? Holy Ghost. Esau, you got one Edomite caught the Holy Ghost. Right, that's madness, man. Now you got these pastor Edomites that start speaking in tongues, touching people's foreheads, making them fall back into the crowd, man. Selling prayer packages and blessings, man. There's one pastor, he's selling the Lord's blood, man.
Right.
2 G's, $2,000. He said he got it straight from the cross. And people are buying it, man. Somewhere in the land of Ham, you can fool those Hamites with white Jesus 7 ways to Sunday, man. Right? They're buying blood. They're spitting their hard-earned rocks on them white Jesus blood, man. So let's read on.
Okay. Verse 45. And they of the circumcision which believed were astonished.
Those the brethren that came with Peter. Go on.
As many as came with Peter.
Right?
Because that on the Gentiles also was poured out the gift of the Holy Ghost.
Right?
For they heard them speak with tongues and magnify Yahweh. Then answered Peter, can any man forbid water that these should not be baptized, which have received the Holy Ghost as well as we?
Right? Can any man stop the Gentiles from being baptized? Meaning no, huh? Right? Go on.
And he commanded them to be baptized in the name of the Lord. Then prayed they him to tarry certain days.
And he asked him to stay for a while, man. Why don't you stick around? It's good to have you in our company. You're one of the apostles. You can show us a lot, man. Right? But with that, Kwam Yashalom.
Kwam Yashalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.